and welcome to this week's IG Live. I'm excited today to be talking to somebody that I know personally. Ellie Windham is the founder of Walking in Other People's Shoes. And I'm excited because I get to see her every month at one of the events that they sponsor, which is the Multicultural Children's Book Club. That's a free virtual event. Just thought she and what her organization does was so inspiring. I wanted to bring her on to get to talk to all of you, and walking in other people's shoes that does transformative experiences for women of color. Let me adjust my screen a little. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for taking the time to join us. I know you're busy, and I was just saying I feel so lucky because I get to see you every month at the book club, which is just one of the things that Walking in Other People's Shoes puts on. So why don't we go ahead and jump in? Maybe you can just introduce yourself and the organization and tell us what was the inspiration behind starting it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie. Hi, Casey. Thanks. So I'm Ellie Windham. I'm the founder of Walking Other People's Shoes. And, I guess how it started was after grad school in 2013. I was just a little lost and just not understanding what I wanted to do in life. So what I did was I started doing information interviews with both men and women, but then I decided that I felt more connected with women of color and their stories and how they got to the different jobs and careers. I only knew what was within my own field, so it was really interesting to hear about other people and what they been doing and their day-to-day jobs. I think that's been really interesting to learn more about is the world around us, not just just next to us. But this Walking Other People's Shoes is been developing over the years, and that's how it started. And then now it's more geared towards women of color and giving them empowerment through storytelling community, through our programming. And like you mentioned, our Multicultural Children's Book Club is one of the vehicles that we do that with.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So let's go into that a little bit more. Like you said, the mission of Walking in Other People's Shoes is to empower women of color voices by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. So maybe we can break that down a little. Why is storytelling so important to having this kind of transformative experience?
Well, storytelling helps us to understand ourselves and other people, and it helps us to feel more connected and less alone. And it helps us to process our emotions and what has happened in our past, and in a way that we can, speak in a way that other people can understand when we put it into a story format. Mm-hmm. So I think that is a really powerful tool, and that can be taught. Anyone can do it. Mm-hmm. It's just that maybe a lot of us don't understand that we have voices and that we can understand it and then use them.
And what about the community aspect? I know that Walking in Other People's Shoes strives to become a community of women who are encouraged to use their voice to spread empathy, form connections, and live out their true purpose. So what does that mean to you to have that kind of community, and why is it so important?
I think a lot of times we feel alone and disconnected from other people, and I think this was my own experience of feeling alone in the journey at the beginning of my career, and not knowing and understanding other people. And for me, understanding life through a narrative or like a book, it has helped me to kind of clarify on who I am and what I'm doing in life. It's my mission. And so I think if we see and frame our life as like we're authors, we can sometimes help to, understand that we can write our own stories and that we have the power to write them and our narratives and how we want the world to see us. And then also how we can use our own voice and our narratives to help empower other people. So I think it's been really important for us to focus on our own voice before we help other people. And I think in our programming and just teaching about storytelling has helped people to process that. I think sometimes we don't take time to self-reflect. So storytelling does help us to kind of self-reflection. I think sometimes journaling is a great way to start storytelling, because then you can, start to reflect on what you have done and how did that affect you? How did you feel? And how can you, change the outcome or the response to that situation? So I think we're all like writing our chapters, and sometimes it's great to kind of find other people to co-write with you and like, join you in different aspect of life and the journey. And, I think it's helped people to feel like as a collective, we have a voice that we can, empower other people.
I love that way of looking at it, that we're all authors of our story, and sometimes we write stories together, and it's such an empowering message, I think, also. And like you said, it all goes back to this idea of storytelling. And I know you mentioned that walking in other people's shoes has really changed a lot. I mean, you've been around for almost 10 years, started, I think, in 2014.
Yeah.
So a lot's happened and it's evolved a lot, but it really goes back to that idea of the stories and those informational interviews that you did. And I started off with the interviews, then transitioned to a blog that shared stories of women of color. Do you have one or two favorite stories out of, because I know you collected so many of them, but do you have some that you can share?
Yeah, I think a good one is Mia Winchen, our facilitator for Walking Other People's Shoes. So, I mean, not facilitator for the Walking, but our book club at least. So Mia, I followed her for many years because I was like a admirer of her work on multicultural children's books. I was like interested in children's books and diversity and culture, and I was always seeing her updates and her book publishing and her community and how she grew it. And so I asked her to be one of my bloggers, and that's how we were introduced at first. And then later I was like, oh, how can we combine forces and like collaborate? And that's how Multicultural Children's Book Club happened. It's because we both found a mutual love of children's books and diversity. And I think between our two organizations, we host this free event just to put it out there for people to learn and come and experience a book club. Yes, during COVID, during our shutdown when we had our virtual meetings. But I think that's what I like about our virtual meeting is that anyone anywhere can come and join us. Mia is in Boston, I'm in New York, and Ruth is in the Bronx. So it's like really connectively, help us to put a book club that can stretch globally, not just the US. So that's been really fun that we could do together, and meeting other women through the blog, and I still keep in touch with some of them, and so those are the stories and people that I admire over the years, and I get to actually ask them to be part of the blog. So it's been pretty awesome.
That's amazing. I mean, because like you said, you have had these really incredible stories of these inspiring women. And just to make a note, I have over my shoulder, that's actually it's the cover for the classroom kit for Multicultural Children's Book Day, but they used the cover for Mia's latest book. So most of that poster is actually from Mia Winchen's latest book that she did about sustainable farming. But yeah, and I love how, again, you're showing how storytelling can really help connect people together, that you two were able to connect, and now you're doing this event that's connecting even more people together. And And you've recently expanded to creating spaces and events for women to amplify their voices, like you said, like really feel empowered to tell their own stories. That's through the blog, through workshops and events. So how do you do that? Can you tell us more about what kind of events and workshops do you do, and how do you encourage women to build their confidence and really learn to express themselves and express their voices?
Right now, I've been using a lot of my personal experience as well as my team of volunteers experience. I think that's been our base of like what did we need it while we were trying to explore our journeys, and a lot of it was support and coaching. And especially with people of color, women of color, we don't have the resources and access to very expensive programs or your professional or personal development. So I think that was one of the things that I wanted to create, is a easier access for programs that are able to provide tools to help you in your personal development. So I think that's been really helpful, is just to start creating things that we needed at that time in our lives and still need sometimes. So we have two programs, and our two programs is called Unleashing Your Voice, and it's a personal development program, and that leads to the Empowering Your Career Journey program. And that's like two programs and a journey, your personal development voice, and like understanding who you are and your purpose. And then the second is you more of towards your career journey and your professional voice, and that is focusing on like your LinkedIn profile and how to update that with a professional headshot. And so we're going to launch it next year. It's a pilot program, but we want to have tools to help women to develop their personal voice as well as their professional voice, because they do connect. If you like, we all want to uplift each other in our career and our personal lives. So I was trying to create something that intertwines both more of a holistic approach on the voice, and the voice is like there's our voice in our personal life but also in our professional life. And I think we can just tie them together and not have them so separate. I think, and then understanding our identity as that's our voice throughout the whole thing, is to be more authentic on both sides of our lives. So I think our hope is to, provide a, roadmap and tools so we can, eventually develop your LinkedIn, update it. I know a lot of people use LinkedIn for, like a benchmark on their journey for the career. So we want to, update that, because that's one of the tools that all, young professionals now use to finding a job or putting themselves out there professionally.
That's so amazing, because like you said, a lot of times these are resources that normally people would have to pay a lot of money to go to these workshops to get this kind of coaching, and yet you're providing it. I mean, it's such an important resource. And I also love this idea of the holistic approach, because I think, especially for women of color, I think there's a lot of pressure to not be as authentic in your professional life, that you feel like you have to kind of conform, or there's pressure to kind of fit in with the mainstream, instead of help people to really feel like they can be their authentic selves in their professional lives as well as their personal, is so powerful. And I was just wondering, I also know that you launched a product line last year. You had a big Kickstarter, which was really successful. And the products, it's so cool. So it's inspired by the bloggers' stories, all the stories you've collected. And you're also making sure to commission women artists of color and entrepreneurs. Can you tell us more about what products you have and how can people purchase them?
So right now our Kickstarter, was successful. We reached our goal of 5,000, and we did, create tote bag with the one of the bloggers quote, and it was from Holly McGinnis, and she's the assistant professor at Virginia Commonwealth University of Social Work. And her quote that we put on the bag was, "The best way to support others is to support and love yourself." I think that comes back to our holistic approach on finding your voice and how to use it. It's just understanding you gotta support yourself first and really make yourself strong so you can help others. You know, obviously it's a work in progress. Sometimes when you are, you know, supporting yourself, you can also help others, encourage others as you know, start to love yourself as well. And so that was just one product that we created just for the Kickstarter. So that was just a like a one-off, but
Mhm.
we hope to also support like Etsy. We did an Etsy journal, so we supported a woman of color entrepreneur that way by buying her customized journals. So we're finding ways to collaborate with other entrepreneurs and, you know, highlight their work as well. But right now we are working on our programming first, and then our product launch will come later. But we hope to, you know, do more self-care tools and other entrepreneurs who is in health and wellness space, and collaborate on branding and you know, uplifting their products.
Do you think that when you started this, because it has been almost 10 years, could you have imagined that almost 10 years later, what walking in other people's shoes would look like? Did you have any
No,
idea?
I think if you count back of all the events that I hosted in the last 10 years, I think we have, I counted at least 300 women that were participants. So I think throughout that, I think it's been amazing to see how we grew and how we changed with time, and, you know, meeting the needs of women and the different parts of their lives at different points. So it's been a journey for ourselves, and, you know, understanding our voice as a team and myself, because it was like, it's only me at first, and then other people joined to help and grow this together. So it's been really amazing to see the growth.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you've talked about how it's kind of changed over the years. Where do you see it going in the future? I know you talked
Well,
about
right,
being more in the self-care space and so on.
yeah,
Sorry.
it's more of like the coaching, wellness and professional coaching, just for the storytelling aspect of, you know, giving people tools so they can find and understand their voice and how to use them. And, you know, those are the programs that we want to launch and help people with their professional life, because yeah, it feels great when you actually make money and not have to, you know, suffer through job loss and job changes and career changes, and not feel alone in those transitions in life, or coming back from work to from motherhood to, you know, the workforce again. You know, these transitions is where we find a lot of these women that we connect with, because they're in transition, you know.
Mhm.
So transition is usually you have more time for yourself, and then you can kind of reflect and then want to think about what you want to do next, you know, chapter of your life.
Yeah, sure. And this is just such a great resource. And I want to mention, because we've talked a lot about the book club, which is virtual, but a lot of your events are actually in-person events, which I know some people really, I mean, the virtual is amazing because you have anybody can join in from anywhere, but a lot of people really get a lot out of getting to meet people face to face as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. I mean, I'm based in New York, so a lot of our events has been in New York, and, you know, we built out our community here, and our volunteers are mainly here too, but we have volunteers from other parts of the country that are participants too. So I think that's a other great way to build community, is through, you know, working on a project like this together. I think that's been really rewarding. Just kind of have a team, and, you know, people I can, you know, drop on the chat about, you know, celebrating other people and the team and their what they do outside of the group. That's important too. So, and yeah, I'm really excited that, you know, we continue our book club for almost 2.5 years now, and it's been consistent. So Hope, you all can join us one month, and we give out free book and snack ideas. So, I mean, snacks. So it's a great small monthly gathering that we do. So hopefully you guys can join us.
Yeah, and I have to say, my kids and I go almost every month, and it's amazing because it's this really wonderful community that comes. I mean, now a lot of people are kind of regulars, and we've gotten to know each other. Like you said, there's always a prize, which is really fun. But also, a lot of times the authors show up and we'll talk. And I'll tell you that these knowing some children's book authors, a lot of these are people that you don't normally get access to. So the idea that we get to just have these very informal, intimate chats with these really well-known children's book authors and hear their stories about their own journey to becoming an author, how they kind of came up with the concept. It's really remarkable. I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, I don't think you realize how unusual it is that you get to chat with these people. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So if people want to get involved, whether it's with book club or maybe an in-person event, or one of your workshops, how do they get involved with that?
They can follow us on Instagram, Walking Other People's Shoes, or sign up on our website, which is walkingotherpeopleshoes.com. I know it's quite long, but I'm sure it's .com. But
easy to remember, though.
Yeah, it's easy. I love these phrases because they're easy to remember. So this is the one that really focuses on empathy and connection. So I thought this is like the perfect word to use for the organization. And I know it's a mouthful, but people understand the mission.
Yeah, I think people get right away what the organization is about. So walkingotherpeoplesshoes.com, and that's where you can sign up for the newsletter. You can sign up for different events and get involved that way.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. You are doing such inspirational work and really making a difference in the lives of so many people. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you so much.
And for anybody, if you joined us late, this will be up on Instagram in just a few minutes, and later it will be up on our YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.